Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, 17th June 2014. In the news tonight, a memorandum of understanding is signed today between the Ministry of Agriculture and Winfresh. Minister of Agriculture Saboto says the main objective of the MOU is to formally set out the framework as to how the ministry will approach the creation of a platform to increase production in agriculture with quality produce for export and local processing. Caesar says they have started the discussion already as to what will be included in the framework, which will be submitted to Cabinet, outlining how the program will be executed with the aim of ramping up production. He said there will also be a significant change in some modalities of trade in the sector, with standards put in place for the export of produce. He noted that over the last 4 years, they have been receiving a number of complaints about the packaging of produce from St. Vincent and the Grenadines on the Trinidad market. The Agriculture Minister says it cannot be business as usual. Farmers, traders and other stakeholders in the sector have to lift their game.
We have basically currently no standards being followed or implemented for export to the market in Trinidad and Tobago. And the farmer may say, well, if I sell my dasheen to trafficker X and he takes it down to Trinidad and Tobago, what I'm concerned about is that I am paid at the end of the day or the end of the week. But the impact is more than that. When a farmer produces dasheen, for example, and he produces a grade A quality, but in that very same field there is a portion of his commodity that is graded at grade D, and grade A and grade D is packaged in the same box, or as we send it now down, in the same sack, sent to Trinidad and Tobago for the same price. That farmer is not able to cash in on the high quality produce that he's selling, that is the grade A. And because of this, the farmers are not receiving the correct prices that they should receive. And we want to see a careful implementation after consultation with the traders on the regional market and those who go to the United States of America. And I know that Winfresh is going to insist that we send the best quality, and at least we have a rigid process in place and structure in place to ensure that the proper grading is done.
Minister Caesar further outlined that they will soon meet with traders, including some of the purchasers in Trinidad and Tobago, on the issue. The minister said he is of the view that the better the packaging of the product, the local traders will be able to negotiate a better price, which will in turn result in a better income for farmers.
When the farmers are paid better, they can pay their workers on time, they could repay their loans on time, and it would definitely be a significant enhancement to the entire sector. Last week, Thursday and Friday, I attended a meeting of the inaugural meeting of the OECS Economic Council that was held in St. Lucia. And one of the main issues raised for the council to address is how do we reduce the food import bill in the OECS. And it was clearly stated that if we are to tackle the issue of the food import bill, we have to ensure that our customers within the OECS, that they too receive quality goods from our farmers. And here's where I put in again the imperative of ensuring that we have the proper grading systems in place.
Meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer of Winfresh, Cornibert, says it is his hope that the signing of the memorandum will be the beginning of a real change in the agriculture sector, not only for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but throughout the region.
Too long we have done agriculture, even in the banana industry. We have done it in a way where we pretended as if we were doing it for ourselves. It now has to be market-led. We have to understand that we are producing for the market. We have to meet the requirements of the market. And to do that, there are two aspects in lifting our game that are important, in lifting our standards. We have farm standards, that is the conditions under which our farm operations are undertaken, whether they meet global GAP or other food, international food safety standards, and there are crop standards. Having produced the crop, how do you grade that crop into the three broad categories that we know, which are category extra and category 1, which are the top grades, and then you have a category 2, which is the lower grade. Now, any smart farmer would want, unless, as the minister indicated, you are putting all of your crops in one bag and just getting one price. If we have real grading and real price differentiation based on grades, any smart farmer would want to have a highest percentage of his crop in category 1 and category extra grades, because that is where you earn real money. And we have to start bringing into the farmers that differentiation in prices reflecting the grade and quality of the product. We're going to do that.
Cornibert said included in the MOU is the setting up of a farmers base where they'll be looking at a range of crops and will be working along closely with farmers who are interested in producing these crops.
And that is where the technical arm of the ministry, in providing support, all of that is indicated in the memorandum, providing technical support to those farmers to ensure that they keep to the farm standards, but also when it comes to their crops, that they take care of the crop both post and pre-harvest, pre and post-harvest, so that they have the best grades, the best quality that we can export. Now, the Winfresh plan really is that we export as fresh the best and we process the rest. I want to repeat that. We export as fresh the best and we process the rest. And this is where Winfresh comes in. A few years ago we invested, and we invested quite a bit in Winfresh. And I can tell you, Winfresh stands behind Winfresh. Winfresh has produced some amazing products, and we want them to develop even more products for us. We are getting almost every day inquiries from people, not in St. Vincent, particularly in North America, who almost by accident have come across the Winfresh products and are asking us where can they get these products.
In more news on agriculture, the Ministry of Agriculture is said to be working along with the Food and Agriculture Organization to do an assessment of the impact of the drought being experienced in the country over the last 6 months. The announcement was made today by Minister of Agriculture Saboto. Caesar said he has been advised that significant acreage of bananas, plantains and dasheen have been affected by the drought, and that preliminary statistics show persons have also lost livestock, particularly cattle.
So it's something that we definitely going to work on, and we are going to do the assessment. I was advised by the Chief Agriculture Officer, Mr. Les Grant, that is going to take a period of about 3 to 4 weeks. And after the assessment, we are going to come back to the press and we're going to speak to the farmers. But over the next 3 weeks, we are going to be in the fields and the assessments are going to be done.
A two-day workshop to further discuss the improvement of land and land management within the OECS is currently underway here at the Sunset Shores Hotel. OECS Rep. Bentley Browne says the implementation of the OECS land policies and management project is viewed as a game changer with respect to how land is managed and developed throughout the region. Browne says after 2 years, the project has reached major milestones. He adds that over the duration of the workshop, a number of issues and major outputs of the project will be discussed.
Firstly, we'll be discussing a synthesis paper on land issues in the OECS. We will be looking at national land policies for St. Lucia and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But we'll be looking at these policies, not so much from their content, but with respect to the particular processes that were followed in the development of these land policies. We are also going to take some time to look at national land policy guidelines. And these guidelines were prepared by the international consultant, Martin, who I referred to earlier. And finally, we will be discussing a report that was prepared with respect to the testing and application of the social tenure domain model in the Caribbean, and we'll be looking in particular at the results of the pilot cases that were done in St. Lucia and St. Vincent and the Grenadines on areas where we had squatter settlements, and secondly where we had the family lands tenure situation.
Browne says the main objectives of the project are to enhance sustainable and economic development in the OECS, poverty reduction, among other key areas.
Through this project, it is expected that, one, we will enhance the capacity for regional institutions to develop effective land policies through inclusive and extensive consultative processes. Secondly, the project is expected to allow us to formulate and develop OECS land policy guidelines based on the principles of equity, efficiency, and sustainability. And these guidelines we hope to be comparable with international best practices and should be a foundation for inclusive land development. Thirdly, these national land policies would be developed, land policies will be developed for 2 member states. And as I mentioned before, we have done that.
Meanwhile, Bentley Browne says to date they have made significant achievements under the project, including completing work with their publicity and promotional activities relating to sustainable land management.
One, we have been able to prepare land issue papers for all of our 9 member states. And those issue papers were prepared in a most participatory manner, and I think in most cases the information is currently being used, and in places where we had information but they were very much scattered, we now have, in addition to the land issue paper, lying in some government agency today is a big stockpile of most of the land management information. Secondly, we have at an advanced stage of completing the synthesis land issue paper, which will be discussed later today. We have, with the help of the international consultant, have in possession today draft OECS generic guidelines. And these guidelines exist, and we will be discussing these guidelines. We also have draft land policies for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we have had a revised land policy document for St. Lucia.
Much of the lands that have been used in St. Vincent and the Grenadines recently for infrastructural development will provide better returns as tourism projects than with agricultural activities. That's according to Minister of Housing and Lands Montgomery Daniel while speaking at the opening ceremony of a 2-day regional land policy guidelines and the social tenure domain model workshop at the Sunset Shores Hotel. Daniel was at the time referring to a radio program on Sunday that sought to sensitize Vincentians on the value of the large portion of lands taken away from agriculture and put into tourism development. He said when such decisions are made, they are based on considerations given to the economic benefits of the particular project.
Where you have 100 acres of land in agriculture vis-a-vis that of tourism, it is clear that the returns from those 100 acres of lands in tourism will bring much more benefit than in agriculture. So, the value of those lands that has been out of agriculture, and I want to say that much of those lands that went out of agriculture, the lands in Canawan was not necessarily the best for agriculture. The lands down at Bukama, again, those lands are and will give you better returns under the tourism project. The one that was more challenging is that of Argyle, but of course
that is a project that will benefit all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
After 5 months of planning, which included several meetings with stakeholders and the sponsors, Operation Mike Charlie, an open water rescue simulation, was successfully staged here recently. According to the Rainbow Radio League, the exercise was originally planned to be staged in Milligan Key area, which also lies in the flight path for the new international airport at Argyle. Hence, the name of the field exercise was called Operation Mike Charlie. Before staging the event, Rainbow Radio League members reportedly made several site visits to Brighton Bay, which lies closest to Milligan Key, to identify the best area to stage the open water rescue event. The major stakeholders for this exercise were local fishermen, the SVG Coast Guard, Grenadines Ferry, the MV Guidance 2, the local Red Cross, and the Rainbow Radio League Incorporated, the organizers of the event. Vincentians who are seeking to pursue studies abroad are being reminded of the importance of research to ascertain the necessary information or the credibility of the educational institution. The point was made by Chief Education Officer Gilchrist at the opening of the National Accreditation Board Symposium today at the NIS Conference Room. Gilchrist said persons must not be fooled by agencies that are not bona fide.
Tell it to your daughters, tell it to your sons, tell it to your students. You have to go through the rigors of learning. You have to go through years of study if you want to have a degree that is of value. And before you invest your private funds, before you approach the training division, the scholarship bodies, financial institutions, ensure that the program for which you wish to register is being offered by an accredited institution, and further that the program which you hope to follow is itself accredited.
She noted that private investment is high and that no person wants a piece of paper with a seal from a university of nowhere.
Public investment is also very high, because when you get a scholarship, that's a cost to the government. Yes, you might stay at home and study, but you also get study leave when you're doing your work at home. That is also a cost to the government. If you have to go away to attend a university, there is a cost to the government once you're a government employee. So let us get good returns on our investments in education. Financial institutions, we have no objections to you calling up Mrs. Hamilton or her staff for that office to conduct due diligence, to do the searches for you.
Meantime, the Chief Education Officer says with the revolution in education and in technology, which puts everything and everyone at each other's fingertips, it is equally important to be discerning.
We have to filter the information which is coming to us and to which our students and our children are exposed. And part of that filter, part of that sieve is the National Accreditation Board. Call the accreditation office, let them assist you in doing the requisite searches so that the investments which are made in tertiary education are not losses.
In more education news now, the Union Methodist Primary School, commonly known as the New Grounds Primary, is featured among the top 10 performers in the 2014 Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment Exams. 11-year-old Aaron Horn of New Grounds and D'Angelo Dick of Cedars tied for 3rd place overall and 2nd for boys. Principal Sheldon Govia said that while this is not the first time that the school has performed well, the school is off to a good start with the introduction of the CPEA. According to Govia, he anticipates that the school will be able to maintain the standard.
We are very elated this time. We expected them to do well in the exams because from the internal grades they did well, and the teachers used the rubrics, and if you were to compare their grades, the internal and external, there's no much difference. Right? We have a hard-working staff and we continue to work hard for the interest of the students, and with that help to motivate the students in doing their work also. So we are very, very excited at this time to have 2 boys tying for the 2nd position for boys and the 3rd positions overall.
And the Sugar Mill Academy is also celebrating the students' accomplishment at the CPA exams. The top 2 students for the school are Dana McLean and Joshua Marks, who placed 5th and 6th respectively. Both youngsters said they are pleased with the overall performance and are proud that their performance was good enough to earn their alma mater some recognition.
I was surprised, but I expected to come somewhere in the top 10. I studied hard and I just put my best foot forward for the exam.
Well, I was shocked when I got my results, but I knew I would have come good. So.
What were some of the things that gave you that confidence?
Well, everybody who supported me, and I motivated myself with my sister. She came 10th and 18th, and I needed to beat her.
To mark its 27th anniversary, the National Society of Persons with Disabilities hosted an open day at its headquarters today. The exhibition displayed craft and food from organizations including the National Society of and for the Blind, the School for Children with Special Needs, the Helping Hands Center, and the NSPD. President of the NSPD, Patricia Cumberbatch, says the event is also a tribute to the late President Melanie Mackenzie.
In memory of our late past President Melanie Mackenzie, what we have is photos. You know, photos always bring back a lot of memories. So you can see the different activities, the different programs and so forth that she was involving. A very active member who we miss so much. Okay, as we go around the table, we have different work from the National Society of and for the Blind. Their mop making project. We can see we have some mop on display. The School for Children with Special Needs, we see they have their arts and craft on display, where they make pillows, different woodworks and so forth. On their left, you can see we have work from the arts and crafts section of the National Society of Persons with Disabilities, involving things like pot holders, pillowcases, kitchen towels, and so forth. We also have work from the Helping Hands Center children over on your far left. So you can see the different display of their handiwork and information pertaining to children with disability.
Cumberbatch is further stressed that disability is not inability and every person should be given a fair chance in society.
We continue to see the work, the ability, the potential of persons with disabilities, and this is what we are geared to do. Help persons with disabilities develop to their fullest potential. So if the society could just gear towards giving persons with disabilities an opportunity where they can learn, they can earn, something for themselves, so they could be independent in life, having a balance in life, It doesn't matter what the disability. If you notice, we know Helping Hand have, children with severe disability, but yet we have work on display from these children, okay? So it's helping persons with disabilities develop to their fullest potential, and that is my, real mandate, doing this work over the years. That is what encourages me, because we will always have, these persons among us, and we need to be catered for them.
Meantime, member of the National Society of Persons with Disabilities, Esroy Bute, shared with SVG Television News what the organization offers to persons in the field of technology.
We train our members to use computer. In different computer programs, we equip them, and also we not only cater for persons with disabilities, we also cater for able-bodied. The NSPD is a organization that caters for all types of persons with cater for all ages of persons and all type of disabilities. Whenever our aim is to train, educate, care for, and commute and also create awareness for all our members.
We'll be right back with Carnival Beat in a minute.
See your eyes, yeah. Whip them up like you just don't care. Point them up to the sky, let them fly.
2013 Band of the Year SVG Players International says it is eagerly anticipating what's in store for Vincy Mass 2014. SVG-TV's Jamisha Wright visited the Mass tent recently and tells us more on its 2014 production.
According to Lance Neverson, Public Relations Officer of the reigning Band of the Year, SVG Plays International, it is their aim to give masqueraders this year a peace of mind amidst the turmoil being faced locally and also globally through its presentation Beyond the Rainbow.
We also have an introductory section, as you can see here, because there's always a stormy cloud before every rainbow. There when it comes to silver lining. So we're starting off with section 1 here, which is, as you can see, behind every dark cloud there's a silver lining. That comes after the introduction of the band, the stormy clouds, and then we go into the Rainbow Children. And from here we go into this is the dawn.
You can move down.
Yeah. This one is Venus, the morning star. Like after the rainbow and the floods came and all of that and stuff, the morning after the dawn of the new morning was the morning star, and then the dawn. After the dawn, we go into the sunset. And you know, there's a myth which I think really is reality, because people would normally tell you, like, right before the sunset there's a green flash. I don't know if you would have ever seen it, but I think I might have seen it myself, you know. So we have
I've heard it, but I've never seen it.
Sunset and the green flash that comes right before the sunset. And then the blue skies, the other section that follows that the green flash is the blue skies, and then the galaxy of stars. This is coming into the evening time now, and then we go into the new horizon. And at the end of all of this, where the rainbow represents, is our pot of gold.
Okay.
So there's a story here to be told, and if you just follow the sections and the names and where they fit themselves in, you can actually see the story unfolding in front of you. So at the end of our rainbow, it's our pot of gold. That's what we are aiming for.
All right, these are all sections.
Basically, no. This one would go for the blue skies. This would introduce the sunset part of it, and this Venus. Just an individual that would go up before the band to introduce the section. Yes,
All right, and roughly how many? This is a very big band compared to other bands that we visited. Tell us, you know, how many persons SVG Plays is catering for 2014.
This year, because of the economic crunch and stuff, and so we are trying to hold the band at 500 players, because normally we subsidize the band heavily. You know, we are holding the cost at $300, but rather than cut back on the costumes themselves and leaving the price where it is, we are cut back on the amount of people and maintain the standard of the costumes. So we are aiming for like 500 people in the band this year.
Neverson said while registration has been somewhat slow, lately persons have been flocking the tent as the carnival season kicks into high gear. Reporting for Carnival Beat, I am Jamisha Wright.